Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing another movie review. This movie is a drama/thriller from Finland, Finnish language English subs, released in the year 2015, directed by Petri Koswita, and this movie is called Absolution. So Absolution is about a heavily pregnant couple. You've got a husband and wife who are racing through the streets one evening because the wife has gone into labour. She's about to give birth, and so they have no time to waste. So when they're crossing a bridge, they hit a person. And upon impact, the husband gets out. He sees that it is a man that's dying, but he believes that he's already dead, and so there's nothing he can do with him. So he goes back to his wife and tells the wife that it was just a deer, that they had nothing to worry about. So they get to the hospital, they give birth, and the next morning the main character meets the wife of the person they've hit. So she's oblivious to the truth, but she realises that this man is now in a coma and may never get out. And so as the two of them form this friendship, there's sudden realisation that maybe she was the contributing factor to this woman's trauma. It starts to get the better of her and starts to tear her up inside as she questions whether or not to reveal the secret or keep it to herself. So whether or not she does is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Absolution. This is a very harrowing experience, and it's an experience that's not going to make you feel very happy, and so be very careful coming into it. If you like your really depressing psychological studies of people put into really extreme situations, this is a movie that I would recommend, but I would say go in there with a lot of caution, because it's not a movie that's going to gravitate to everybody. And so it's a movie about being put into really extreme situations and the domino effect of not making the right decision at that specific time and keeping things to yourself, and how devastating that can be, not only for the person that you're keeping the secret from, but also for yourself, and the inner torment that this main character was going through. I actually thought was fairly interesting, and the dynamic between the married couple, once the truth gets out there as to what this husband did, this is starting to tear everything to pieces. And so it's a movie about good people making the wrong decisions and the catastrophic consequences that come about from making those decisions and passing the point of no return. So you're constantly asking yourself, is she going to reveal this secret, and what are the consequences of that revelation? So the dynamic between these three people, the husband, the wife, and the wife of this man they just hit, I thought that was a very intense and suspenseful atmosphere that the movie manages to create. And so if you like character studies of the human nature as far as traumatic events are concerned, then this is a film that I would recommend. I thought the cinematography was very bleak, the soundtrack was very bleak, so it's definitely a movie that's not going to promise a happy ending, and so it's definitely a European kind of film. If you're after the American sugar-coated films where everything is going to be alright, then this is definitely not a movie for you. But this is opening your eyes to the ugliness of humanity, and where good people are making bad decisions, which is just getting to a point of catastrophe. And the whole film has that sense of tragedy in a very domino effect. So the continuity of the movie wasn't bad. It was an hour and 30 minutes, and so it doesn't really outstay its welcome. But unfortunately, although it's harrowing and although it's traumatic in the psychology and the atmosphere of the film and the suspense whether or not this secret is going to get out there, I still felt as though this is a TV film. This is a movie that didn't have enough theatrics to actually make it a cinematic experience, and so it's going to be very difficult for me to really recommend this movie. And I can understand why this film didn't get a lot of buzz. It was from 2015, a Scandinavian production, and I was surprised that I heard nothing about it. But after watching the film, I could understand why. Is because the movie has a certain blandness to it that I thought prevented it from being anything memorable. Yes, it is a depressing sort of exercise, but it's an exercise that you're going to forget pretty soon, because although the characters were kind of developed, they weren't developed enough to really hit you on an emotional level as much as it really wanted to. So yes, it is sad, and you're going through the pain that these characters are going through, but there's just something lacking in this movie. It just made it a daytime kind of film as opposed to something that's going to hit you on a cinema. And so as far as a wide recognition, I don't really feel as though this film is going to do very well, and it's because it has that bland sort of boring TV, made for TV kind of feel. It also has a lot of repetitive value as far as the soundtrack is concerned, and there's a lot of melodrama. I thought as though the soundtrack was there just to really hit the heartstrings as opposed to actually really absorbing in the situation, and so it's kind of hitting you over the head with the fact that it's a sad film, but it's not letting it seep through very naturally. And it also marketed as a thriller, and so if you're after a standard thriller, I definitely believe the marketing is quite deceiving. It's not quite as the thriller that you would imagine it would be, and so it is suspenseful in not knowing whether or not the secret's going to come out, but unfortunately it's not thrilling enough to actually make it that cinematic, memorable experience that I really wanted it to be. So I can understand why it didn't get a lot of attention, and if you don't see the film, you're not really missing much, and as a result of that, I'm going to give Absolution 2.5 stars. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later. Bye.